cold to jump, ain't it? Now, come here. Think you can't catch a nice fish on a little bitty bait? I beg to differ, especially in the wintertime. That's a good one. So I'm gonna take just a second and show y'all my setup for this vertical shad. Obviously, I'm using the Garmin Live Scope, which is very important. This is a V&M vertical shad. I like a 7 foot, 7'1". This is a 7'1" Tactical Elite TFO rod. Got high seas braid on it with a piece of 10-pound test high seas fluorocarbon for a leader. And this is one of the most important aspects of the whole deal to me, is this jig head. This is a Boss Mini Swim jig head. The reason why this jig head is so important to me is if you look at this jig head, the line tie on this jig head is very far back. It's not up in the nose. What makes that matter is when you're fishing this bait vertically, like you saw, I held that bait up off the bottom. If you use a line tie or a jig head with a line tie in the front, your bait's gonna hang like this. It doesn't look right. These fish are cold and lethargic. You saw how long that fish looked at that bait before he ate it. You've got to give them a real natural presentation, and having that line tie way back in the jig head, enabling that jig head or bait to hang very level, makes a huge difference, and it also helps the way the bait sinks. It makes it look more natural. I also really like the screw lock that this has. This is the V&M vertical shad, and all I do to rig it on this jig head is just simply, and once you get it started on the screw, just bring the tail around through the hook. And I like to get it pretty tight to the head, about as tight as I can. Now, on this vertical shad, you see the two little fins that it has. And I do think the fins may help with the natural presentation, because again, this is typically a clear water technique, so natural is going to be better always. But the main thing I like about the fins is I really feel like that the fins on this bait give my Live Scope more to read. In other words, it makes the bait have a little bit broader surface area, which gives me a little better return, making it easier for me to keep track of where my bait is and see my bait. But this is an incredible wintertime technique. And look, guys, I'm in South Mississippi. I know a lot of y'all are going to watch this and say, oh, that's great if you live in Tennessee, which is definitely where this technique started. But it doesn't have to be Tennessee to work. I'm in Mississippi. I'm catching these fish today only in 14 to 20, 21 foot at the most. So you don't have to have a mountain type lake that's got 150 foot of water in it for this to work. I'm actually catching a lot of these fish today, over the top of pieces of brush and on the edges of a creek channel. That last one I just caught was up on a hump. But this is a great little setup for wintertime from now until the spawn. This is something that really, no matter where you fish, if you have clear water and you have shad, you definitely need to have this in your boat.